Are you ready to think big and act bold? Then you are in the right place. This is Innovative Entrepreneurs, a podcast that will bring you the stories, insights, and tips from some of the most successful and innovative entrepreneurs in the world. I am your host, Erica Bailey, and I am here to help you start, scale, and sustain your own entrepreneurial journey. Let's get started. Today, I am thrilled to have Danny Nathan. He is the founder of Apollo 21. Danny's company stands out by blending the best of management consulting and product design to drive innovation and growth. Well, he's got over 20 years experience across various industries. Danny and his team at Apollo 21 specialize in helping clients create transformative new products and ventures, all while fostering a strong culture of innovation. Wow. Thank you, Danny, for joining me. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. So let's first talk about the brand right there, Apollo 21. Talk to me about that. What is Apollo 21?
So we are a relatively unique company, as you kind of just covered in your intro. We sit somewhere in between a management consultancy and a product design studio. And so what that ends up meaning is that we help our clients ideate and build new products to sell to their customers. We help our clients build technology to use inside their own walls, so helping with anything from automation to streamlining operations to creating efficiency, etc. And then we also help our clients really kind of revel in a commitment to innovation. And that has cultural impacts, it has operational impacts, and we like to help folks move sort of beyond the idea of innovation theater. And there's a lot of companies that talk about innovation, but when you really dig in, their activities don't support it as much as one might hope. And so we help bridge that gap and make innovation something that is tangible, actionable, and perhaps most importantly, repeatable.
What is your background in?
I started my career way back in the day in the world of advertising and realized very quickly that I did not enjoy it. And so, sorry to rain on your parade there.
That's okay. You don't enjoy it. I do. That means more for me.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's great. Somebody has to do it. So I'd rather it's not me. Anyway, so I took it upon myself to find something else to do with my life and ended up working in an innovation consultancy as one of the very early hires when they were about 2 months old. And I spent the next 5 years of my career helping to establish and grow that business, working with all sorts of crazy brands from American Express to Dyson to General Mills to the Museum of Modern Art and a bunch of startups and all sorts of fun stuff. And really just kind of fell in love with that work. And so since then, I have kind of alternated between starting my own companies or serving as usually head of product for earlier stage startups. And that eventually led to the creation of Apollo 21 a little over 3 years ago now.
Congratulations. That's big. Well done. Well done. Okay. So what inspired you to take that leap into entrepreneurship to founding Apollo 21? I guess, what is your why?
I have a couple of answers to that. My overarching why and the thing that drives me day to day is very simply solving problems. I'm one of those people that when I see a problem, I have trouble letting it go. I just start churning on, wait, why is that a problem? Well, how could it be better? And how would technology play a role in making that better? And is there a business that could then grow around making that better? And so that's what kind of drives me every day. The original leap into the world of entrepreneurship came really at the end of my stint at the innovation consultancy that I just described. And it was born out of a frustration of spending a lot of time helping other people create things that they loved and not feeling like I had the ownership and the the license to kind of grab on as much as I wanted to when it was somebody else's thing. And so I finally just sort of said, you know what, there's a very easy but difficult way to solve that, and it is go and start something yourself. And so I've done that multiple times over, again, most recently with Apollo 21, and that opportunity came really opportunistically. I was serving as head of product at a video technology startup in LA. And for the last year of my tenure there, I basically formed a SWAT team and was helping other companies that were within our investment portfolio with their technology problems. And so I was doing work that looked really a lot like the work that we now do at Apollo 21, and eventually got noticed by both my founders and some folks at the investment company who eventually tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you seem to enjoy this. You should really think about going and doing it." So here we are.
Here we are. That's pretty awesome. Your company is known for blending elements of management consultancy and product design studio, as well as venture studios. So can you tell me what each category is, and how you came up with this unique combination?
Yeah, absolutely. So, generally speaking, folks hire a management consultancy when they have a problem that they're having trouble solving, and they need some outside perspective and some folks who can help take an impartial approach to evaluating that problem, helping to come up with solutions, etc. And we find that we do quite a bit of that work, both in terms of helping companies figure out what types of problems they can solve for their customers, but also helping them figure out how to solve problems within their own walls. And in my experience, the biggest problem with management consultancies is that they're very good at coming in and helping you assess the problem, and then they will create a giant presentation, and they will give you that presentation, and they will hand it to you and say, "Thank you very much, pay us a lot of money, goodbye, good luck." And I think that's a terrible business model. I mean, it can't be, because it works very well for them, but at the same time, it creates a ton of frustration with the folks who get the big old stack of "you should" and have no idea how to bring that to life. And so what I was really setting out to do with Apollo 21 was to bridge that gap between helping people assess problems, come up with solutions, but then also making sure that we had the ability to bring those solutions to life, so that we weren't leaving people at that "you should" moment, and rather could help them carry forward all the way through to execution the ideas that we were putting forward. And so that kind of covers the management consultancy and the product design studio. And then, of course, the venture studio is really where we take an opportunity to do that for ourselves, as opposed to on behalf of clients. And so we focus, for the most part, on ideas that are born within our own walls, although we do work with some early stage founders to help them bring their ideas to life as well. And it's really kind of the culmination of, okay, we can help identify and solve problems. We can build the technology that forms that solution. And through the venture studio, we can also then help wrap those solutions into companies and help build and grow the company structure itself, in addition to just the solution that is the deliverable.
So as you're talking, I'm like taking notes on additional questions that I have. I love people who solve problems. Those are the ones who created our country. I love it. I love it. So innovation, I mean, it's literally part of the name of my podcast. Like, what makes innovation so difficult?
There are a lot of things that make innovation difficult, but I think the biggest thing that stands out is really how companies are structured and how they operate today. And what I mean by that is, as companies grow and scale and discover product market fit, the inclination for the operators of those organizations is to then focus on figuring out how to make them operate as efficiently as possible. And so you end up with a whole stack of processes and things that get done that are all aimed at wringing every dollar out of every penny in, for example. And while that's great for keeping up with, quarterly shareholder updates and making shareholders happy and showing growth quarter over quarter, what it is not great for is fostering a culture where experimentation and failure and trying out all sorts of weird things can happen. And so what you end up with is this kind of tug of war between how companies operate and how companies innovate. And that little pivot point right in the middle there is why innovation is so hard, because as you grow yourself out of the ability to try weird and crazy things.
You are a highly intelligent man. It's obvious.
Thank you.
Where do you think that started? Like, were you always this brilliant, or did you have to work really hard to get to this place? Or maybe
I think like everybody, it takes a lot of hard work. I'm not.
No, some people are savants, and you're just
No, not a savant, but you're well hell up there. So where do you think it started for you?
It started with curiosity, I think, and just sort of consuming everything that I could to help me understand the world the way that I view it. And so, when I was looking to get out of advertising, for example, I had very clear-cut views on what worked and what didn't and why I was frustrated by advertising. And the way that I solved that for myself, and I've done this repeatedly since, was I went out and bought a stack of books about as tall as I was and just started reading everything that I could about views and perspectives from other people that saw the world the way that I do. And so now that has become a habit, and I'm looking over to my right because I have a whole stack of books sitting to my right that I'm about halfway through that help me sort of think about and articulate and gather up all the various perspectives that inform what I end up saying on shows like this.
Knowledge is everything.
Yeah.
Right? If we're not learning, we're not growing. And if we're not growing, we're not living. And I highly respect that. I call it literacy and fidelity, because I have so many different books that I'm reading at the same time. I'm like not committed to one at a time. And so I just thought that was kind of funny.
Nice. I got to get through one before I start the next one. Otherwise I lose track and I got to start.
Oh, I can't. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Now I talk about it's necessary to fail in order to succeed, right? There is black and white. There is everything in between. So give us an example of a time that you failed, but what we call failed forward. What did you learn from that experience?
I fail every single day. I have an interesting relationship with failure because, in part, I have a personal motto that is fail beautifully. And it is a consistent reminder to me that if you're going to do anything at some point along the way, you're going to fail. And unlike what we are taught as children, where it's deeply ingrained in us that failure is a negative thing and we should avoid failure at all costs, I believe that, as we get into adulthood and start viewing the world with a more mature perspective, that the reality is that failure is not a bad thing. Failure is a way to learn and a way to move forward and to figure out what works and what doesn't, and so on and so forth. And so I am more than happy to say that I fail every single day. And it's just part of getting through life.
Oh, so beautifully said. I'm actually going to put fail beautifully on my vision board to remind myself that it's okay. And you know what? Just live it, understand it, grow from it, and recognize that we are human.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing we can do from it is to learn from it. That's the only option, is to go up from there, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the learning, right? Every experience we have in life, we're learning something from. It is our mindset that tells us whether we accept failure as a positive because we're getting something out of it as well, or we accept failure as the negative, which is I am never going to be good enough. And it's all about mindset there. And I really do love the way you said that, fail beautifully. That's seriously going up on my wall.
That's where it lives for me.
Okay. So I talk about marketing because that's what I do. And you have a history in advertising. So who would you say is your target audience and why? How do you deduce that personally or in this business?
We work with primarily founders at every stage from idea to scale up. That's our core target. And so myself and my team have been through the entrepreneurial ringer and have sat in those shoes, stood in those shoes, sat in that seat, whatever.
Did something.
Many times over. Yeah, exactly. We've been there. We've done that. And so, that's really what we revel in, is helping founders figure out how to move forward. And so if you're at the napkin stage, for example, we are literally about to launch a pre-accelerator program for folks that have an idea and don't quite know what to do to move it forward and get it off the ground. That is focused heavily on the customer development process and helping people de-risk and validate their entrepreneurial idea so that by the time they are ready to go out and build something, they have absolute conviction in what they're building because they have heard time and again from people that those folks want to buy it, that they value it, and that the founders know exactly what needs to go into it. And of course, once you have gotten to that stage of launch, then we have all the capabilities of helping to build your MVP or helping to grow your startup into the world of a scale up or helping your scale up build the operational software that you need internally, for example, to ensure that you are ready for that scale and that when you flip the ignition switch, everything doesn't fall apart.
Oh my goodness. We'll definitely put all your links in the show notes, but the service you are offering is so important and I think often overlooked as to what that value is and how it's going to, you're either going to take off if you're not. So where can people find this? I want you to tell us right here, like where can people find this or find you so that they can start this process or learn from you?
Yeah, best place to find us is on our website. It's apollo21.io, as it says right by my name here. If you're looking for the information on the pre-accelerator program, it will be launched imminently. Shortly, very soon. That is in the ventures section of our website, so take a look there. We have a bunch of case studies and a ton of articles and things like that to help folks through the startup and innovation process and to help demonstrate how we approach our work and what the results are that we output. And then, of course, both Apollo 21 and myself are active on socials. Apollo 21 is usually Apollo 21.io or Apollo 21.io. And I am blah, blah, blah / among many on just about every social network. I mean, it's either that or you got to list out, well, it's, facebook.com and it's Twitter.com.
You're right. It's just, I haven't heard it like that. And so it was just funny. Absolutely funny. So, maybe as a new business owner or somebody just venturing into entrepreneurship, talk to me about how you would identify your target audience as a business as a whole. Like, what are the steps? Because you obviously understand your market and who your audience is. But as a new business owner, what would you tell them to do in order to kind of find that first step?
I would tell them the same thing that I tell most first-time founders. Most people get to that point where they have an idea that's scribbled on a napkin or wherever it is that you've scribbled it. And if you've read any of the books, etc., that tell you how to go about creating a startup, your first inclination is going to be, oh my God, I have an idea. I must go build an MVP. Don't do that. Please don't do that. It will be expensive and you will get it wrong. Instead, talk to people. And this is where the idea of customer development comes into play. If you have an idea, find the people who you think that idea will resonate with and go talk to them. Ask them, one, don't share your idea yet. Just ask them about their problems. Talk to them about their pain points. Find where the emotion lives in what you are trying to create for them. Then start talking about your idea a little bit. Tease it out. Give them an opportunity to react without giving away the farm, because by the time you've done this 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 times, you will know so clearly what it is you need to build and whether or not people want it and see value in it, and most importantly, are willing to pay for it, that you will save yourself a ton of heartache and headache on the backside when you go to build it or not. And we generally view this process as having so much value that we tell people every hour that you spend talking to potential customers will save you 5 to 10 hours in building something on the far end. Bear that in mind. Building is expensive. You're going to have a team of engineers. Every 5 to 10 hours of their time is going to cost a lot of money. Every 1 hour of your time to validate what you're doing doesn't cost a whole lot of money. Spend your cheap money before you spend your expensive money.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I am really enjoying this conversation. I end every program with asking, who do you feel is the most innovative entrepreneur of all time? Or I allow people to give me an example of who has inspired them outside of it. So what would you say to that question?
I'm going to answer this a little bit backwards. There's a company that I'm remiss because I'm struggling to remember the name of, but one of the oldest companies that has ever existed was in China, and their entire business was built around building and maintaining Chinese temples, Buddhist temples. I think it was in China. And the reason that I find that so inspiring, they started in 1500 or something and were around until literally like 2018 when they finally got bought, and they still operate as a fully separate subsidiary of whatever the purchasing company was. But the point of all of this, and it's a terrible story because I can't remember the details, the point of all of it, however, is that any company that can be around for literally thousands of years is an impressive innovator in my mind. Because if you stop and think about it, the average lifespan of a company that is publicly traded today is something like 16 years. Literally from startup to the point where they fail, disappear, die, whatever. And so if you contrast that with a company that has been around for thousands of years and the amount of innovation and growth and change that is required to keep a single company going just for the purpose of building temples, for example, over that period of time, that is the absolute epitome of innovation as far as I'm concerned.
Ah, that was, I think, the coolest answer ever.
I'll have to follow up with you, Erica, and give you all the examples because I butchered it completely, but it's a really interesting company.
Now I want to like Google the story. Yeah, you'll follow up with me. I'll make sure that we put it in there just so that people can access it. But man, you're right. You are 100% on point there. Oh, that's just so obvious when you say that out loud. I have a whole different respect, man. Thank you for opening my mind here. Well, is there anything else you would like to say to my audience, and anything else you want to share about maybe what's happening or what's coming up with you?
Yeah, I've got one more thing that I will share. If anybody in your audience has a corporate or otherwise job where you feel like you sit in too many meetings and you've ever had that thought of, wow, this is boring, couldn't this meeting have been an email? We've built a product for you. It is called Meeting Cost Calculator, and it does exactly what it sounds like it does. So if you're in HR, if you're a team leader, if you're a CFO or a COO, and you want to really gain a clear-cut understanding of just how much your company's meeting time costs your company, please check out Meeting Cost Calculator.
Awesome. All right. We need to make sure we put that in the show notes too. Thank you so much, Danny. What a wonderful conversation. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. And to all my audience, obviously, if you liked it, please like, subscribe, share, comment, ask Danny questions. We do get back to you. So honestly, just ask us what you need to know and we will respond. Again, thank you, Danny, and thank you, everybody. I am so grateful for all of you.
Thanks for having me.
Wow, what a great episode. I hope you had as much fun as I did. If you want more of this goodness, make sure you subscribe so that you get notifications for future podcasts. And if you found value from this, please share it with others. You can visit our website at cwgdigital.com. This is Erica Bailey. I am your host, and I will see you next time.